Hey guys, welcome back to ProductNation. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Honor 20. Now this phone review is going to be a little bit different than the other reviews that we've done because we're going to be focusing on one aspect specifically, which is what they've been shouting about, which is their camera. So I'm really excited to try this out because I really like phone cameras and I want to push this to the limits and see how much we can actually get out of this 4-camera setup. So the Honor phone is a sub-brand of the Huawei company, so that's why it's got a very similar look and feel to it. The Honor 20 is a successor to the previously released Honor 10. Quite nice to look at, as you can see. You've got this really nice colorway. This is the sapphire blue. The version that we have is the 128 GB of storage and 6 GB of RAM. So let's talk about the screen really quick. It has a 6.26-inch display screen, as you can see right there. It's an IPS LCD panel. You can see it's got a punch hole cut out for the camera at the top left of the screen. There's no fingerprint scanner at the back. Neither is there a scanner at the front. There's no scanner in the screen either, like we've seen in the past few phones. However, it does have a fingerprint scanner built into the power button on the side, as you can see over there. So all I have to do is tap the power button or even touch it and it unlocks my phone right there. Let me show you that one more time. All I have to do is tap the power button and it unlocks. It's lightning fast, it's really quick. So one thing that I really like about the phone is that it comes with its own fast charger in the box itself. The fast charger can charge your phone up to 50% in just 24 minutes, which is quite fast. So this phone comes with a 3750 milliamp hour battery. So let's just jump right into the camera now because that's what we're here for. So could this really be the best smartphone camera out there? Watch this video to find out. So right off the bat, you can see that we have this 4-camera setup. This is insane to me. So looking at the main camera unit, you can see that there are 3 cameras on the module itself, and then you have this tiny camera on the side, which I almost didn't notice, which is the super macro lens. So let's just talk about each of them one by one. The one at the top is the ultra wide angle camera, which is a 16 megapixel camera. The one in the middle is your 48 megapixel main shooter, which is an f1.8 lens. The one at the bottom is a 2 megapixel lens, but this is just a depth sensor. The camera on the right is also a 2 megapixel camera, but this is your super macro lens that lets you get really close to the subject. We're gonna talk about that in a second, and we're gonna check out the image quality on this, which is what we're really looking at here. I've captured quite a number of pictures, and I'm gonna display them on screen right now. Some of these pictures have been compared to my daily driver, which is the S9 Plus. We're gonna check the image quality. We're gonna see how much sharpening it really does, how much saturation it adds in. And we're also gonna look at the 48 megapixels being true 48 megapixels or just it being a gimmick, because a 48 megapixel file, once you crop in, should still maintain image quality. And we're gonna take a look at whether or not this does that. So we're gonna start by an image that was taken using the portrait mode first. So let's check this out. That's my colleague, Andrew. Say hi to Andrew. So this was taken using the portrait mode at the wide setting. So this is using the basic standard camera zoom configuration. As you can see in this image that the background separation is quite nice, especially when you see the hair. You can barely tell that this is a digital blur. Moving to the side of the chair, everything seems fine. So here's an image that I took of a bird that's sitting inside a nest. And as you can see here, the sharpness is absolutely crazy. Each strand of the nest is extremely sharp. The eyes of the bird are crazy sharp. You can see the feathers as well. And it's a very good image in terms of details. We're gonna take a look at the ultra wide angle lens. So the first image here, as you can see, has been taken using the standard lens. And the image quality is quite nice. Zooming in, we can see that the sharpness is maintained. You do lose a bit of detail, but that's kind of expected from a camera sensor that's that small. But that's what it looks like. And then moving on, we have the ultra wide angle image. So we're gonna put a side by side of the regular image with the ultra wide angle image, and you can see how much detail you get to capture once you switch to the ultra wide angle lens. I really enjoy ultra wide angle lenses. I've talked about this in the past. Any phone that's coming out with ultra wide angle lenses, I think, is an immediate win for me. What I did notice is when you switch from one lens to another, your color changes, your white balance slightly shifts. The ultra wide angle is definitely more over sharpened than the regular image. So now what we're going to talk about really quick is the night mode. Now the night mode was one of the things that I really liked about this phone, and this is where you can actually see results right here on screen, and it's really crazy. Everything is set up for you. You just switch to night mode, hold your phone in place for a few seconds, and it captures the image for you with the maximum light possible and the minimum noise possible. This is the image taken using the regular mode, and then this is the image taken using the night mode. As you can see in the sky, there's an insane amount of noise in the previous one, and then the next one is perfectly clear. Next, we're gonna take a look at a couple of images that I took of flowers right after it rained, so that's why there's all these raindrops. These images are taken using the standard camera, and it's quite sharp. The image quality is really nice. So here's one that I took at f/0.95, and then here's one that I took at f/13, just to show you the background blur and the separation. So it's not really great, as you can see. You get this really weird drop off, but that's kind of expected from smartphones. Here's a comparison between my phone, which is the S9 Plus, and the Honor 20, just to see the different colors and the drop off and the sharpness and just how the camera handles light. Now I want to talk about the super macro mode really quick, because this is where I got slightly disappointed with the camera. It does have a minimum focusing distance of 4 centimeters, which is what it prompts to you once you turn that on. But what I did realize is when you switch to that, you lose out on a lot of image quality. All your sharpness and color and contrast goes out the window when you use the macro mode. So here's an image I took of a snail walking around. And as you can see, this is the image taken using the macro mode. And then this is the image taken using the regular mode. So as you can clearly see here, the macro mode is a little more desaturated. The colors look a little sad. And then you can see that the image is not as sharp as it should be. So when you switch over here and you zoom into the, I don't know what it's called, the thing of the snail, you can see like there's so much detail there. But then when you switch back to this one, it's just a mush. It looks horrible. I can't even zoom in further because the image quality is that low at 2 megapixel. So I would rather just shoot with the regular mode and then zoom in or crop in. That's just my recommendation. I think that would work better than using the super macro mode. The DNG files that I shot, which is the raw format, can only be shot in the pro mode, so you need to know what you're doing with the settings. You only want to shoot raw when you know you're going to be editing your images, because it's not a JPEG file. You can't just upload it to Instagram or whatever. You have to put it through an editing software and then export it. So the 48 megapixels are not as impressive as I was hoping that they would be. It is a true 48 megapixel file. You can see that there's a lot of compression in the JPEG file. So you lose out on a lot of details when you're shooting JPEG, and you retain a lot of details when you have the raw file using DNG. So this phone allows you to do that, which is really great. So there's one aspect where this phone really shines for me as well, apart from all the other things that I mentioned earlier, is the video mode image stabilization. Now, this might be one of the best stabilizations that I've seen on a smartphone. It has optical image stabilization on both lenses. So I've done a couple of tests here, as you can see on screen right now, where I'm walking and using both phones to record. As you can see, the stabilization on the Honor 20 seems to be a little bit better than on the Samsung S9 Plus. And I did prefer this over the S9 Plus when it came to stabilization. So you wouldn't really need a gimbal if you hold this out and walk. It's extremely stable, and I really like that feature. Here's an example of me walking towards the camera, and you can see how sharp the image is while being incredibly stable, and it looks like the camera's floating through space, which is really great, and every camera should have that. It's a really good feature to have. So talking about the video, there's one thing that I really didn't like was the autofocus speed and responsiveness. You can see in this video right here the comparison between the S9 Plus and the Honor 20. The S9 Plus captures focus every single time without any focus hunting, but the Honor 20 had some problem looking for focus and finding focus, which I find to be a problem. So that I think can be improved. But apart from that, it's a very good camera on a smartphone. I would have preferred a telephoto lens separately, so it could be optical zoom rather than digital zoom, maintaining the 48 megapixels. I would have preferred if the autofocus was way better than it is right now, because this is subpar. I mean, besides that, it's just the image quality where it comes to the over sharpening. I would prefer if the over sharpening was slightly lower, the saturation to the images and white balance slightly more maintained. So overall, camera gets an 8 out of 10 for me. It is a very good smartphone for the camera, and I do understand now why they were shouting so much about the camera. Quad camera setup, that's 4 cameras on this phone. That's insane to imagine. I'm really happy with this phone, really happy with the camera. So if you're looking for a smartphone that has a really good camera and can pretty much do it all, I do recommend the Honor 20. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Do let me know in the comments whether or not you would purchase this phone for the camera itself, especially considering the image quality as you guys have seen on video here. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. We did get slightly detailed with this video, but that's what you guys wanted. We talked a lot about the camera and went in depth with the camera and found out whether or not it may be the best smartphone camera out there right now. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, all that good stuff. And let us know what you want us to review next, because we do read your comments and we really appreciate all the support that we get from you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Okay.